First Contact and the Challenge. Commander Helena Blackwood stood at the helm of the Stellar Horizon, Earth's most advanced deep space research vessel, watching the strange readings flash across her holographic display. The ship's quantum sensors had been picking up unusual energy signatures for the past 3 days, unlike anything recorded in human history. "Commander, you need to see this," Lieutenant Rajesh Patel called from his station, his dark eyes fixed on the swirling data patterns before him. The energy signature just quadrupled in intensity. Helena moved swiftly to his station, her boots clicking against the polished deck. The reading made no sense, it defied every known law of physics. Before she could respond, the space before their vessel began to ripple like heat waves over desert sand. A ship materialized from the distortion, its hull seeming to absorb light rather than reflect it. It was massive, easily 3 times the size of the stellar horizon, with organic-looking curves that suggested technology far beyond human understanding. "All stations, battle ready," Helena ordered, though something told her if this vessel wanted them destroyed, they wouldn't stand a chance. "Open all frequencies for communication." The alien vessel hung motionless in space, studying them. Then, without warning, a beam of prismatic light shot from its hull, enveloping the bridge in rainbow-hued radiance. When it faded, a figure stood before them. He was tall, nearly 7 feet, with silver-sheen skin that seemed to shift like mercury. His eyes were deep violet, lacking pupils but somehow conveying both intelligence and amusement. He wore what appeared to be living armor, its surface rippling with patterns that mimicked the stars themselves. "Commander Helena Blackwood," he spoke, his voice carrying an otherworldly resonance that made the air itself vibrate. "I am High Sovereign Theron of the Zylaxian Collective. We have been watching your species with great interest." Helena stepped forward, her hand instinctively resting on her sidearm. "Welcome aboard the Stellar Horizon, High Sovereign. Though we generally prefer advance notice for first contact situations." Theron's mouth curved into what might have been a smile. "Your species' propensity for humor in tense situations is one of many fascinating traits we've observed. But I come with purpose, Commander. A challenge, if you will." The bridge crew watched in amazement as Theron gestured, and a holographic game board materialized between them. It was unlike anything Helena had seen, a 3-dimensional matrix of shifting energy patterns and crystalline structures. "This is the game of cosmic confluence," Theron explained. "It is how my people determine the worthiness of other species. The rules are complex but will become clear as we play. If you win, the Zylaxian Collective will share technology that would advance humanity by centuries. If you lose..." He paused, his violet eyes fixing on Helena with unexpected intensity. "You become my consort, binding our species in a union that would change the course of galactic history." Helena heard her crew's sharp intake of breath, but her mind was already racing, analyzing the game board's patterns. "And if I refuse to play? Then we leave, and humanity continues its slow journey to the stars, unaware of the darkness that approaches from the edges of known space." Theron's voice carried a weight that suggested far more than a simple game was at stake. Helena studied the board, then looked at her crew. Lieutenant Patel gave her a slight nod, while her tactical officer, Commander Diane Rodriguez, looked concerned but determined. This was more than a personal decision, it was about humanity's future. "Before I accept," Helena said, "I want to know what you mean by the darkness that approaches. No more cryptic warnings." Theron's expression grew grave. "Very well. There is a force moving through the galaxy, consuming civilizations. We call them the Void Hunters. They are drawn to technological advancement, and humanity's recent quantum breakthrough has attracted their attention. Without our help, your species will be unprepared for what comes." Helena felt the weight of command settle heavily on her shoulders. This was. The cosmic game begins. Helena took a deep breath, her decision made. "I accept your challenge, High Sovereign Theron. But I want your word that regardless of the outcome, my crew and ship will remain unharmed. Theron placed his hand over his chest in what appeared to be a formal gesture. You have my oath as High Sovereign. Now, shall we begin? The holographic game board expanded, filling the space between them with intricate patterns of light and energy. The bridge crew watched in fascination as crystalline pieces materialized at various levels of the three-dimensional matrix. The game of cosmic confluence, Theron explained, is about more than simple strategy. It tests one's ability to perceive patterns in chaos, to find harmony in discord. Each piece represents a different aspect of universal forces, gravity, time, entropy, and creation. Helena studied the board, noting how the pieces seemed to pulse with their own inner light. And how does one win? By achieving balance, Theron replied, moving his first piece. A spiral of energy coursed through the matrix, creating ripples that affected nearby pieces. Or by forcing your opponent into imbalance. Helena reached for a piece that reminded her of a supernova's heart. As her fingers touched it, the crystal responded to her thoughts, moving in ways that seemed to bend the very fabric of space within the game board. She placed it carefully, watching as its energy interacted with Theron's move. Fascinating, Theron murmured. Most species approach this game with brute force or rigid logic. But you're feeling the flow of energies. On Earth, we have a martial art called Aikido, Helena replied, studying the board's shifting patterns. It's about using your opponent's force against them, finding harmony in conflict. This feels similar. The game progressed, each move more complex than the last. Helena found herself drawing on everything she knew about quantum mechanics, stellar phenomena, and even Earth's ancient philosophies. The pieces danced through the matrix, creating patterns that seemed to mirror the very structure of the universe. Lieutenant Patel, watching from his station, suddenly straightened. Commander, the energy signatures we detected earlier, they're matching the patterns in the game. Helena's eyes narrowed as she looked from the game to her ship's sensors. He was right. The mysterious readings they'd been tracking were perfectly synchronized with the game's energy flows. This isn't just a game, is it, High Sovereign? Theron's violet eyes met hers. Very perceptive, Commander. The game of cosmic confluence is also a key to understanding the Void Hunters. Their movements follow similar patterns, but on a galactic scale. Each game teaches us more about their nature. So you're not just testing me, Helena said, moving another piece that sent cascading waves of energy through the matrix. You're training me. Perhaps we are training each other, Theron responded, his move creating a complex interference pattern with Helena's pieces. Your species sees connections where we see only chaos. It is enlightening. As they played, Helena began to notice something else. The way Theron moved, the subtle shifts in his mercury-like skin, even the patterns of his living armor, they all followed rhythms similar to the game's energy flows. The Xylaxians hadn't just created this game, they had built their entire civilization around its principles. The Void Hunters, Helena said, making a move that caused several pieces to resonate in harmony. They don't follow these patterns, do they? That's why they're such a threat. They are a discord in the universal symphony, Theron confirmed, his expression grave. A cancer that spreads through the cosmos, consuming all in their path. Traditional defenses mean nothing to them. The game board suddenly pulsed with warning colors, and Helena's tactical display lit up with alerts. A massive energy distortion had appeared at the edge of their sensor range, its signature matching the ominous readings they'd been tracking. It seems our time grows short, Theron said, his armor rippling with increased activity. The Void Hunters approach faster than we anticipated. This game must serve more than its traditional purpose now, Commander. It must become a bridge between our peoples. Helena studied the board intently, seeing it with new eyes. The patterns weren't just abstract strategy, they were a language, a way of understanding the fundamental forces that shape the universe. And somewhere in those patterns lay the key to saving both their species. Then let's make these next moves count, she said, reaching for a piece that glowed with particular intensity. Because I think I'm starting to understand what this game is really about. The piece moved through the matrix, leaving trails of light that intertwined with Theron's previous moves. The resulting pattern was unlike anything either player had seen before, a perfect blend of human intuition and Zylaxian precision. Theron's violet eyes widened slightly, a reaction that spoke volumes coming from a being of his composure. Now that, he said softly, is truly unexpected. The game continued, but it had transformed into something more, a dialogue between species, a dance of minds across the cosmos. And as the Void Hunters drew ever closer, both players knew that what they created here might be humanity's only hope for survival. Secrets of the Void. The stellar horizon's warning systems blared as another wave of distortions rippled through space. Through the bridge's panoramic viewport, Helena could see the fabric of reality itself beginning to wrinkle, like paper crumpling under invisible hands. Multiple quantum anomalies detected, Lieutenant Patel reported, his fingers dancing across his console. They're forming some kind of pattern, similar to the game board's energy matrix. Helena moved another piece, watching as its resonance created new harmonies within the three-dimensional playing field. The Void Hunters aren't just approaching randomly, are they? They're following the game's underlying principles, but twisted somehow. Corrupted, Theron confirmed, his silver skin reflecting the emergency lights in mesmerizing patterns. They were once like us, seekers of universal harmony. But they discovered something in the spaces between dimensions, a power that drove them mad with hunger. Commander Rodriguez spoke up from her tactical station. Sir, the anomalies are forming a containment pattern around us. We're being boxed in. Helena studied both the tactical display and the game board, seeing the parallel patterns forming in both. Each move in the game seemed to ripple out into real space, affecting the approaching distortions. We're not just playing a game anymore, she realized. We're programming reality itself. Now you understand, Theron said, his violet eyes gleaming. The game of cosmic confluence was created by my ancestors as a way to manipulate the quantum fabric of spacetime. Each piece represents a different fundamental force, each move a mathematical equation written in energy. The game board suddenly flared with new light as Helena made a particularly bold move, sending cascading waves of harmony through multiple dimensions of the matrix. The nearby space distortions responded, shifting and warping in sympathy. But if the game can affect real space, Helena said, watching the patterns unfold, then we might be able to use it against the Void Hunters directly. Theron's expression grew concerned. It would be dangerous. The game was meant to create harmony, not as a weapon. Using it aggressively could destabilize the local spacetime continuum. Sometimes, Helena replied, remembering countless tactical simulations from her years of command training, the best defense is a carefully calculated offense. Look at the pattern they're forming, it's like an inverted version of the game's base harmonics. She moved another piece, this time deliberately creating a dissonance that made the game board shudder. The nearby space distortions reacted violently, twisting in on themselves. Fascinating, Theron murmured, studying the effect. You're using their own discord against them. But the risk. The risk of doing nothing is greater, Helena interrupted, her mind racing with possibilities. Lieutenant Patel, start mapping the correlation between our game moves and the spatial distortions. Commander Rodriguez, prepare to channel additional power to our quantum shields. The bridge crew moved with practiced efficiency, their training kicking in despite the unprecedented situation. Helena turned back to Theron, seeing new respect in his alien gaze. Your species truly is remarkable, he said, adjusting his next move to complement her strategy. Where we seek perfect harmony, you understand that sometimes harmony must arise from controlled chaos. The game board pulsed with increasing energy as their moves became more complex, more daring. Each player's style began to blend with the others, Theron incorporating elements of human unpredictability, Helena learning to feel the subtle flows of quantum resonance. Commander, Patel called out, excitement in his voice. I'm detecting a pattern in the Void Hunter's approach. They're not just following the game's principles, they're reacting to them. Almost like they're playing too, Helena finished, a chill running down her spine. She looked at Theron. They recognize the game, don't they? That's why they're here. Theron's living armor rippled with tension. Yes. The game of cosmic confluence was originally created to communicate with them, before their transformation. They remember it, but now they seek to corrupt its harmonies, to twist its power to their own ends. A massive tremor shook the ship as the nearest spatial distortion pulsed with malevolent energy. The game board's crystals sang with discordant frequencies, their light flickering erratically. They're trying to break through, Rodriguez reported, her hands steady on her console despite the chaos. Our quantum shields are holding, but the stress patterns are unlike anything we've encountered. Helena studied the game board intently, seeing not just the current pattern of pieces but the potential moves ahead. Like a chess master thinking multiple steps forward, she began to see a possible solution, but it would require perfect synchronization between her and Theron. High Sovereign, she said, her voice carrying the quiet authority of command, I have an idea. But you'll have to trust me completely, and we'll only have one chance to get it right. Theron met her gaze, his violet eyes seeming to peer into her very soul. After a moment, he nodded. Proceed, Commander. It seems trust between our species may be the key to survival. As Helena reached for her next piece, the space around the stellar horizon continued to twist and distort, the Void Hunters drawing ever closer. But in the intricate dance of the game, a new possibility was taking shape, one that would either save both their civilizations or tear reality itself apart. Strategy and sacrifice. The game board hummed with barely contained energy as Helena outlined her plan. The Void Hunters are playing the game through reality itself, using spacetime as their board. But they're expecting us to follow traditional patterns, either pure harmony like the Xylaxians, or pure chaos like they do. And you propose something different? Theron asked, his living armor shifting in response to the mounting tension around them. We combine both approaches, Helena said, moving a piece that sent ripples through multiple layers of the matrix. Create a pattern that's neither harmony nor chaos, but something new entirely. Lieutenant Patel's console chirped urgently. Commander, the spatial distortions are intensifying. Energy readings are off the charts. Through the viewport, space itself seemed to be tearing apart, revealing glimpses of something beyond, shapes that hurt the eyes to look at, geometries that shouldn't exist in three-dimensional space. The Void Hunters were revealing themselves at last. They're beautiful, Helena whispered, unable to look away from the otherworldly sight. In a terrifying way. They were once the greatest artists of reality, Theron said softly, his violet eyes reflecting the impossible patterns. Now they seek to remake everything in their own twisted image. Helena forced herself to focus on the game board. We need to synchronize our moves perfectly. The pattern I'm seeing, it's like a double helix, but in quantum space. Your moves provide the structure, mine the variation. Theron studied the board, his silver skin rippling with understanding. A bridge between order and chaos. Yes, I see it now. But the energy requirements. Stellar Horizon can handle it, Commander Rodriguez interrupted, her fingers flying over her tactical display. I'm rerouting power from all non-essential systems to the quantum shields. We'll give you every ounce of energy we've got. The ship groaned as another wave of distortions washed over it. Through the chaos, Helena could almost hear something, a song, but twisted and wrong, like a symphony played in reverse and through broken glass. That's their language, Theron explained, noticing her reaction. The music of broken reality. They're trying to seduce us into their madness. Helena straightened her shoulders, fighting off the disorienting effect. Then let's give them a new song to listen to. Ready? Theron nodded, his hand hovering over his pieces. Together, they began to move, their pieces dancing through the matrix in perfect counterpoint. Each of Theron's moves established a fundamental pattern, which Helena's subsequent move would transform in unexpected ways. The game board blazed with light as their strategy took shape. In space around them, reality began to shift in response. The Void Hunters' distortions faltered, their chaotic patterns disrupted by this new approach they couldn't predict. "It's working," Patel reported excitedly. "The quantum field is stabilizing in sections. The Void Hunters, they're trying to adapt, but they can't match the pattern." Helena felt sweat beading on her forehead as she concentrated on her next moves. The game had become more than just strategy, it was like conducting an orchestra of reality itself, each piece a different instrument that had to play perfectly in time. "There's something else happening," Theron said suddenly, his voice filled with wonder. "The pattern we're creating, it's not just affecting local space. It's resonating through the quantum substrate, spreading across light years." Commander Rodriguez's tactical display confirmed it. The effect was rippling outward like waves in a cosmic pond, touching other regions where the Void Hunters had begun their assault on reality. "We're not just defending ourselves," Helena realized. "We're teaching the universe a new way to sing." But the Void Hunters weren't finished. They surged against the new pattern, their corrupted harmonies trying to break through. The strain began to show on both players, Theron's silver skin dulling slightly, Helena's hands trembling as she reached for her next piece. "The power requirements are becoming critical," Rodriguez warned. "Hull stress is approaching maximum tolerance." "We need something more," Helena muttered, studying the board intensely. "Something they won't expect, won't be able to counter." She looked up at Theron, an idea forming. "High Sovereign, you said this game was originally meant to communicate with them. What if we're not just playing against them, but trying to remind them of what they once were?" Theron's violet eyes widened. "To reach through their corruption to their original nature? It would be incredibly dangerous. The psychic backlash alone. But possible?" He studied her for a long moment, then nodded slowly. "Yes. But it would require perfect synchronization between us. A complete merging of our strategies, our minds, our very understanding of reality." Helena looked around at her crew, their determined faces, their unwavering trust in her judgment. Then she turned back to Theron, her decision made. "Then let's remind them what harmony truly means," she said, reaching for a piece that pulsed with particular brightness. "Together." As their hands moved toward their respective pieces, the space around the stellar horizon twisted and writhed, the Void Hunters sensing the coming change. The fate of not just two civilizations, but reality itself, hung on what would happen next. Beyond victory. As Helena and Theron reached for their pieces simultaneously, time seemed to slow. The game board's crystal matrix hummed with unprecedented energy, responding to their combined intent. In that moment, Helena felt her consciousness expand, touching Theron's alien mind through the quantum resonance of the game. Images flooded her awareness, the history of the Xylaxian people, their millennia of studying universal harmonies, their first contact with the beings that would become the Void Hunters. She saw through Theron's memories how these entities had once been masters of reality's music, before their obsession with power had corrupted them. Now, Theron's voice echoed in her mind. "Make the move exactly as you envision it." Their pieces moved in perfect synchronization, creating a pattern that was neither order nor chaos, but a perfect synthesis of both. The game board erupted with prismatic light, its energy spreading outward to encompass the entire bridge. "Quantum field harmonics at maximum," Patel shouted over the rising hum of energy. "The pattern is self-sustaining." Through the viewport, Helena watched in awe as their created harmony spread through space, meeting the Void Hunters' distortions head-on. But instead of fighting against them, the pattern began to resonate with the corruption itself, finding the original harmonies hidden deep within. Remember, Helena projected her thoughts through the game's connection, not just to Theron but to the entities beyond. "Remember what you were meant to be." The twisted geometries in space began to shift, their painful wrongness gradually transforming into something else. It was as if a discordant orchestra was slowly finding its way back to the original symphony. "It's working," Theron breathed, his violet eyes wide with wonder. "They're responding to the primary harmony. The pattern is reaching through their corruption." Commander Rodriguez's tactical display showed the effect spreading exponentially. The spatial distortions are rewriting themselves. It's like they're healing. Through their mental connection, Helena felt Theron's surprise and admiration. "Your species' understanding of transformation through conflict, it was the key we've been missing all along." The Void Hunters couldn't be defeated or contained, only reminded of their true nature. The ship shuddered as waves of quantum energy washed over it, but these tremors were different now, like the growing pains of reality restructuring itself, rather than its dissolution. In the space around them, the Void Hunters' presence was changing, their chaotic patterns gradually aligning with the new harmony Helena and Theron had created. "Look," Lieutenant Patel whispered in awe. Where there had been twisted, reality-bending horrors, now there were shapes of pure crystalline beauty, geometric patterns that sang with restored harmony. The Void Hunters were transforming back into their original form, their corruption being cleansed by the resonance of the game. As the transformation completed, the mental connection between Helena and Theron began to fade. The game board's light dimmed to a soft glow, its pieces settling into a final configuration unlike anything either civilization had seen before. "So," Helena said, her voice slightly hoarse, "about that marriage proposal, who actually won?" Theron's silver skin rippled with what she now recognized as amusement. "I believe we've moved beyond such simple concepts as winning and losing, Commander Blackwood. What we've created here is something far more valuable, a true partnership between our peoples. And the beings we just helped restore. What happens to them now? They will need guidance to fully recover their original purpose," Theron said, gazing out at the transformed entities. "Perhaps that too should be a joint effort between our civilizations. There is much we could learn from each other." Helena looked around at her crew, seeing the pride and amazement on their faces, then back to Theron. "I suppose this means Earth is about to get that advanced technology you promised, though not quite in the way either of us expected." "Indeed. And the Xylaxian Collective will gain something equally valuable, a new perspective on the universe itself." Theron extended his hand in a gesture he must have learned from studying human culture. "Shall we begin?" Helena took his hand, feeling the cool smoothness of his silver skin. "I have a feeling this is going to make quite a story back home, how a game of cosmic chess led to humanity's greatest leap forward." "Not just a game," Theron corrected gently. "A bridge between worlds, between ways of thinking. And perhaps..." His violet eyes twinkled with something that might have been humor, between hearts as well. As the Stellar Horizons crew began coordinating with the Xylaxian vessel to document what had occurred, Helena found herself looking forward to the challenges ahead. They had not just saved reality from the Void Hunters, they had opened the door to something entirely new. The game board continued to glow softly between them, its pattern a testament to what could be achieved when different perspectives came together in harmony. And somewhere in the vast expanse of space, restored beings of pure quantum harmony began to sing their original song once more, enriched by the wisdom of chaos and the power of transformation. The ultimate challenge had not been about winning or losing at all, it had been about finding a new way forward, together. And in that, both humanity and the Xylaxians had emerged victorious.